welcome to Flory Models Daily Build. Something a little bit different. You might have seen part one of this particular series we're doing, which was when we reviewed this particular kit. Now, as I said, I've been saying for the last year and a bit how it would be great if you had all the pluses of a Bandai kit, you know, so something that goes together with no glue, no filler, and at the end of the day you end up with a fantastic looking thing. But instead of sci-fi, Star Wars and Gundam and stuff like that, it was a Spitfire or a Mustang. Then lo and behold, at Telford this year, this got dropped and we saw the actual sprues from it and all the bits and pieces, and we were thinking, wow, somebody's actually done it. But hold on a minute. We're not just talking a sci-fi kit where you've got squares and various things and you can hide things under panels and stuff. We're talking about a very smooth looking, obviously modern or World War II fighter. So obviously we've got problems like the big seam we're always going to get running down the middle at the top, okay? Wings, wing joins and stuff like that. How is that physically going to work? And then you think about it and the realities are, actually, if somebody pulls that off, it will be incredible. And then this dropped and you're thinking, but it can't, surely, it just doesn't stack up. So the point of today is really, what we're going to do is try it and we're going to see exactly what we get. Now this is obviously being pushed somewhat at both the experienced modeler, who's got everything, and probably the newbie coming to the hobby who doesn't have everything, who just wants to put it together, a bit like we all did as a kid, but is going to end up with something really, really nice. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use a pair of snips, a knife, a deburrer, and probably just something like a medium skinny stick, okay? And my orange scissors, because I have to, because it's like law. And what we're going to do is put this together and see exactly what we get. Okay, so when we looked at the review of this, it looks just like a normal plastic kit. And to be honest, apart from the oversized locating tabs for it, it just looks like any other P51 Mustang. It looks very nice. We've seen it right the way through. What I'm going to do is just basically going to put it together as whole assemblies. Now this isn't going to be a full-on detailed, tiniest little bits of scratch building, all the detail painting in. I'm going to build it really as a whole. This is just to see how the kit goes together. If it goes together particularly nicely, we might even paint it. But first of all, we need to get on with the cockpit. So down in here, section 1. It's talking about, we've got the rudder pedals, so we've already sanded off some of the little areas on this, okay? Now these apparently push right in here. So again, a little bit fiddly, especially when you've got giant sausage fingers like me. Okay, but no, they hold in, so first sign is going very well there. Okay, then we've got the instrument panel. What we'll do is we'll hand paint this. That actually goes in very well as well. So far so good. Then we've got the floor section. Obviously this bit up here is working our way through. So we've got the control grip, which we'll just give a little bit of sanding off. As I say, my little snips work really well, but they're not that good, not on the tiny stuff. So okay, we'll just give that a little bit of a thing. Okay, and we'll just fit the control column. Now technically, if you were building this properly, you're going to be painting a lot of these separate. I'm just doing it as a whole for speed, so we can see exactly what we've got. Okay, so we're just going to put these all in. It's funny because when you're putting this together, you're expecting it not to hold. It's because the tabs aren't that big. Okay, that's all going on right in there as that. Now these boxes go in at the top. Technically, again, you would always paint these separate, but we have a fault. This little guy, maybe because this is nicking in. Again, you're just going to have to make sure your cleanup is very good. I'm thinking that may have been the problem. It does. Wow, that's actually really good. I didn't think this was going to hold. I thought it was going to need glue, but it didn't. It went in. Okay, now these are obviously the radios and batteries and things going in here again. What we could probably do is paint it as a whole, pop these off and put them back in. But there we go. That's the actual cockpit area, rear floor done as well. All right, so that's all in. Again, so we're going to paint these as a whole. Then we've actually got the seat bit just down in here, so we've got all the bits for the seat. So some of these, again, be interesting to see how this is going to fit, for instance. Okay, so we've got the cushion for the head box. Yeah, see, that doesn't actually want to hold its own. It'll go with glue, don't get me wrong, but cement free it is not. Let me just try and, well, blow, no. Okay, that is going to need a little bit of glue. There's a small little ejector pin on it. I've got a feeling that's what the interference is. So right, let's just try and get this in here. So these two areas are going to push into these here. Again, being a little bit careful because we don't want to break anything, as I've just done. Hopefully that will come back up. Okay, then we've got the seat going in on the front. It fits. It fits. Okay, so that goes down in there like that. I'm amazed that fits. I don't know why. I'm expecting this not to work. This is the thing. Great thing. Never expect. So we're just going to, so I don't crush the wrong bit. Okay, so the actual seat area and everything else does go in apart from the head, but that's not a problem. We'll paint that and we can add that bit separately, but there we go. That's the seat section done. Then we got up here, technically we've got the clear part. Again, this needs to be painted somewhat as a separate, so we're going to put it together and then if need be we will undo it to see exactly what we've got. Okay, so this guy is just going to fit theoretically in up here. Again, the only thing I'm finding, this could just be sausage fingers here, but it is incredibly tight to get some of these items in. Don't get me wrong, they all go, but it's very hard to get in there to get them to go. Now if it was glue, you'd use a little bit of tweezers glue and you'd do it, but because this you physically have to shove in there, it's proving to be a little bit heavy. Now this apparently is just going to slot in here like a key. So it just, no, it doesn't slot. It shows it there as slotting in, it pushes in. Okay, so there we go, that's that area done just like that. That's not too bad at all. Okay, then the seat. Just going to pop in the floor like so. And then technically the armoured glass, obviously we'll put that in afterwards, but then that fits in at the top. Wow, look at that, phase one, and it works. No glue. Now, let's face it, we built Tamiya before and we've had that glue in there and all the rest of it, but I don't know, it just seems a little bit weird there. So, on these guys, let's just get the fuselage halves off. Okay. Again, this is very odd not using glue, but I can honestly see how engineering and CAD work and you know, different ways of actually producing the plastic, even the sprues. What's going to happen is in the future everything will be like this. Okay, I can imagine glue being secondary, but from a modelling point of view, don't get me wrong now, I'm not going to be a total heretic, that you know, from our point of view, you'll put it all together and then, especially with capillary action glues like extra thin, you just tap. You know, to be honest, this isn't new, because when I built the going back in the day, the Mustang, the Tamiya Mustang, and when we built various other Spitfires and that Tamiya, I've actually put the entire cockpit together and then we've glued it afterwards, purely because the fit has been that good, and it enables you to really make very little damage, you know, because you're just literally letting capillary action do all the work. Okay, so we just go around and do that side and around here. Again, I imagine very much like the Bandai kits, you still have to watch your tabs, because if you don't take care of your tabs like this, where you've cut them off the sprue, they'll make a small gap, and that small gap can turn into a real problem a little bit later on if you're not mindful of it. So by taking care of these now, making sure you've got rid of all of these, hopefully later on in the build you're not going to start getting gaps and wondering why, and then it's too late to get in there. So always just have a go round and just pop these out of the way. But again, don't overdo it, because if you oversand it you get a gap. So again, it is one of those things. So down in here, D10, we've already popped D10 off here. He is going to literally push in straight into this side wall, and then what we'll do is, again, it works. I don't know why we're going to be having this all the way through the build, but it goes on there very, very nicely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get both halves of these done. We're going to take them over to the spray booth, spray them interior green, give it a very light wash, perhaps a dry brush, pick out the individual details, and in that way we can put the rest of it together without having to worry, because the big thing is these huge ejector, well, say locating pins here, you can see them on here. When they go together, I have a feeling it's a one-way trip, i.e. it pushes in, that's your lot. You're not going to get it back out. Okay, so that's why I'm taking care of these now. We'll get them all put in and everything else like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to push on now and do this sub-assembly down the back for this tail unit. We're going to get that one done, okay, and then what we'll do, we move over to the spray bay and we'll actually get it all painted up, tiny little bit of weathering, quick wash, things like that, and then we can get it together. Okay, so there we go. So, okay, bit tricky getting this tail wheel in, and to be honest, there is, as you can probably see down here, a little bit of white. This is flash, okay, and that is caused by the problems in there. So we just pop this out and see if we can fix that a little bit more. What that actually is, and yeah, you can see it quite clearly. You might see this little bit of white running along here. So what we're going to do is just take a deburrer, and we're just going to scrape that away. It's just a little bit of flash. Unusual for Meng, if I'm honest. Normally, we don't see a flash from them. This is the thing, because it is got a little bit of flash you can see on this tail. Okay, so we're just going to snip or just slice that away. Okay, then we're just going to give it a quick little light sand. Wipe that out a little bit. I'm putting this entire tail section in, which just was a little bit of a handful. Okay, until you keep it all square. Once you keep it all square, it's fine. So what you need to do is almost pop the top part in first. Okay, so here we go again. A little bit fiddly. You just need to make sure this sits square. If it doesn't sit square, it's a bit of a pain just to try and get it all in. There we go. Okay, and let's just look at this back edge again. You can see tiny little slice just along there. Again, I think a drop of glue and that'll be fine. It'll just weld that up and away we go. Okay, but there's a little bit of burring going down in there and everything else. Not so much of a problem. This guy at the back for the radiator set is just going to push in here, and that's what also holds everything in, and you get the nice line. Not too bad a join at the back, if we're honest. Then we come in with the radiator. Okay, for the tail. And that's it, done. Okay, so not too bad at all. So what we're going to do, we're going to get some interior green, take it over to the spray bay, and we're just going to spray all the interior parts green, and then we can give it a quick, simple wash, and then we can actually get the two halves together. Okay, so back over here, we've got some AK, got kerosene leaks, any dark wash will do. You could use, obviously, even the Flory Models one. Actually, that one's a little bit brown. We just find what else have we got? Okay, so what we got here is AK's gear wash, which we're just going to pop around the cockpit. Okay, so this is just literally a little weathering wash, so we're not going to need tons of it. We're not trying to go overboard with all of this, so we're just pick a bit up on your thing. Okay, now this will just flow and hopefully just knock about all your areas. Now this is an enamel wash over a lacquer paint, so you just have to be a little bit mindful of it, that they're not bestest friends, but they shouldn't hurt each other. And hopefully it will all fade back. Okay, so we're just going to brush this around in absolutely everywhere. So just going to give us our shadow, and because we're dealing in a smaller scale, we're just trying to make details pop. So the idea is this will just go on. As I say, it will lighten all up and all the good stuff. Okay, so we're just going to pop a little bit just around here at the top. And so if you found this a little bit too strong, you could easily thin it with a little something. Okay, just to give a little bit of wear and tear and a bit of shadowing, a little bit of detail. We've still got to do the head rest, but to be honest we'll do that in a bit of a leathery colour, and that could be done at any point. Okay, so we're just popping this very lightly around everywhere, just a tiny bit around the floor, in these ears, just down in the seat, back of the seat. We'll give it a rub round perhaps with a cotton bud just to pull it around a little bit, tiny bit down on these pedals. And so this is just a really quick little job right around all of this. Okay, and as you can see, just coming in, doing its bit. We'll dry brush over the top of this as well, so that way you get best of both worlds. And speaking of dry brushing, what we're going to do is just pop a little bit of grey, so we're going to use light grey just around the instruments, and then this is what we're going to do everywhere, just to give a highlight and a low light. I don't like using silver, I find it's too strong and it pops a little bit too much, so we're just going to grab a sort of flattish brush. That will do. So we just pick up a little bit of white, grey, light grey, rub all of it off the brush, then we reload and we rub it all off the brush. Okay, so completely you've got nothing at all literally on the brush. That's what you dry brush with. Okay, and then all we're going to do is just pop round. Secret to dry brushing is you have nothing on the brush. And amazingly, you have loads on the brush, as you can see here. But you rub it till you get nothing coming off, and then you end up with that. Okay, so same we're going to do across the batteries and the radio equipment in the rear. Okay, it's just an effect. You're not trying to, as I always say, I know it's a favourite word of mine for you guys who watch my full video builds, but you're not trying to change the world, you're just trying to give an effect. Okay, now this glass bit will clean off with a cocktail stick. Okay, but this will just give a dusty, worn look to everything, and obviously it will make detail pop, and that's what we're trying to do here. Okay, that's that one, that one. We've got one more battery here somewhere, one more radio gear, and again. And it's just a quick job, so we don't have to go back in here. Okay. So we've got some little details we want to pick out. Obviously things like the control grip, the handles, the things like that down in here. But for the moment we're just literally going to give this a rub with the dry brushing. And this way it will drag some of the stuff that's a little bit too strong, like this lot, and just blend it around all a little bit. Okay. So it's the acrylic mixing with the oils now to give you a dusty, warm look to things, okay? And it sort of halfway cleans them up as well. No glue, you keep forgetting. Okay, every now and again rub it off, because the oils now start to, or the wash will start to pick up on the brush. Okay. And remember, this is my disclaimer, this is purely just so we can pop all of this in there. Now this guy here, what you can do, if you just grab a cocktail stick, on the glass part on the front, we'll be able to scrape clean the glass, because it's an acrylic on this, because we just used Tamiya flat black onto this guy. So this will just clear this guy up. Hopefully you can see he's a bit more shiny down there now. Alright. Okay, just a smidgen. Just around here. Again, because nothing's glued, you have to be mindful how you touch it, because everything sort of moves a little bit. Okay, so that's, we can pop this guy back together now. The glass on the top I'm not worried about, we will do that afterwards. Instrument panel, again you can put the decals onto it whichever way you want to do it. There we go, that sort of pops all of that in. Then we can pop this onto here. Just like that. Coming together quite nicely. Control grip I've got to do, remember to do the control grip. Put a little bit of stuff in there. Okay. And then this guy fits back in the slot. It is a bit of a squeeze to get him in there. And this guy back on here. Now obviously you could go around now and detail this up a lot more and everything else, but there we go, that's that taken care of. Control grip, just do a little bit of black paint. Just round there on there, and we'll just do the handle on the sides. Okay, and obviously you would do all the other bits and pieces. This is just for a show type thing rather than anything else. Clean brush. There we go. Okay, so these bit down on here, we're just going to very lightly rub this over now, just to blend all of these in. So normally you'd let this all dry a little bit, then come in with your dry brushing normally. So for this what we're doing is just maneuvering some of this around, getting rid of some of it, and dry brushing. And obviously you'd go in and take all the details off. Got more in here than I bargained for, so what we're going to do is just quick to switch to a cotton bud. Just a bit quicker. That's more like it. Okay, 1, 2. This is the speedy, flory way of painting, weathering and building everything. Okay, so as I say, disclaimer to all this, honestly I normally take a lot more due care and attention to this, but there we go, that just weathers it in. Quick, simple, very speedy job. Let's put this radiator in. Keep remembering to put it in the right way. Okay, so moment of truth. We just clear this on here. Pop these out of the way. Let's get it together. Okay. See exactly what we've got. So to be honest, none of this looks too bad at all, does it? I'm thinking that's pretty good, really. Especially when you think of the time we spent. Okay, so that's done, that's done. The nose is on. Propeller, the bits and pieces. So now we can actually fit this guy in together and we can see exactly what we've got. So I'm thinking this must push into here. This area goes down the back. Is that it? It just drops in. Is it that fit? Wow, okay. So that looks like it's literally just it. Then we're going to come in, like just down here. We are just going to pop these two halves together. So now this is where these big pins all come in. So I'm wondering if there's a correct formula for putting this together. I'm going to start down the middle. This is the first time I've attempted to push these two in. So I'm feeling more than just pushing because I'm trying to make sure everything is going nicely, because I'm not sure how easy this is going to be to come apart after the job is done. Wow, actually that's really, really very, very nice. That's gone together an absolute treat. Of that I am impressed. Well done, Meng. Okay, so there we go, that's the fuselage halves done. The way they've done it's quite nice because we were worried about this seam. Well, obviously you can see at the top we won't have that trouble because this is done. That's all going to be one-piece cowlings over the top, and underneath we don't have the seam either. So that is quite an ingenious way of doing it. That's actually really, really nice, and I'm impressed the way it locks in together. It feels very solid. It doesn't feel toyish. It feels, to be honest, like it's glued, and everything else like that. So that I am impressed. So yeah, there we go. Part 1. So next up, what we'll do is we'll pop on with these other ones. I'll zip ahead just a little bit. So we've got these parts which we'll show. We'll get those cleaned up and we'll put those on in a moment. And then we're going to work on the wing section and get that together. Okay, so we're not going to worry about the prop because we'll put it on last, but we can put these covers on here. So we have our fuselage section, and okay, so this is got a little bit of flash on it. Again, just watch your flash, just a little bit on this guy. Again, just a quick rub over with the deburrer. Takes that out without taking up any much more material. So what do we got? Little slots each side. Okay, and then this will then just drop in here. No, wrong way around. Slots on that side. Pushes in. Bit of a squeeze. Got a little bit of a line just down on here. The other side's perfect. It's fine when you squeeze it in. Again, if you were using glue, you'd squeeze it and glue it, and I think you'd be fine. Let's see what this one does. Okay, so this guy just pushes in over the top. Again, it's very difficult to, because you have to put so much pressure on it. I'm not used to like crushing things together, but there we go. That's the nose system on there. It's got a little bit of a gap running around it. It maybe just needs a little bit of deburring, a little bit of work just around on here, just to make sure it's in. We've put the the exhausts in there as well. You get a choice of two. You got the open or with the fairing on there. Okay, but that's on there like that. Now, technically, I should whip this off and I'm going to go around and check it, but what I'm going to do that is afterwards. For the moment, we're just going to build it as is, okay, without making any adjustments like these down on the back. We will adjust before the end and everything else, but there we go, that's on just like that. Then onto the other side, we're talking about the wing section. So we've got this one down here, so we've got the wings and with the gear, and these are quite a straightforward job. These just push into these holes. Again, it's just the old sausage fingers to crush them, to wedge them into their little slots and make sure that they're pushed all the way in so they're flush coming up the top. Just draws those in like that. Then we've got the actual lower wing section just like this, okay, and then these are just going to come in here, we assume, and just going to fit in like this. So it gives you your wing spar box section going in there like that with the gear. Again, just finding it's not seating in there as well as perhaps I would want it to. And it is that thing of just working out why it's not quite in there properly. So we're just going to push this in and we're just going to give this a bit of a nudge. Again, I'm thinking this isn't just not seating in there as well as I'd want it to, and because it's got a slight edge on this, let's just test it on this one. Normally I'm not going to adjust anything, but I'm just going to take some height out of that guy. I'm wondering if it is a little bit of deburring down on this side, so just take out that bit. Let's try this bit again. That looks like it's a nicer fit, and just see what happens now. There, perfect. That's what the problem was. Again, it's that little thing, little seam lines, they can affect everything, and there's no play in that at all now. It's just perfect. Okay, so that's that one in like that. Then we got the flaps. So we've actually got the flaps you can have down. I assume it's just in the deployed position. I don't think we have an option on how these are going to go. Okay, and we've just got to pop the, so those are on just like that. We've got the ailerons as well. I haven't cut those out. Let's just grab the ailerons. Okay, so we just pop these off. Again, a little bit odd that it's a push fit onto these, and again you get these little tabs just down in here, so just send those off. These tabs that hang off, which are what are going to hold this on, are extremely delicate. You're just scared to death that you're going to chunk them off or something else like that. And then when that happens, I'm not sure how you'll get around that problem short of just pushing it in and gluing it. But again, we're trying to do this glue free. So far so good. Okay, quick job on those. Right. So, if we fit one side, I assume it's just going to come in here. And again, very difficult because it just sort of sits here. I'm wondering if we can put the top half of the wing on and then we can work it out. No, it doesn't matter, we do this now, does it? So what we're trying to do is, okay, we're just going to push it in a little bit. That sits there like that. And squeeze. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Actually, that's not too bad. Got a little bit on this edge, if we're honest. Tiny bit of a gap on this edge, but actually that isn't too bad at all. Again, clever little engineering. Okay, so same again on the other side. And in here. Again, big gap just down in here, not exactly brilliant. You can see it just opening and closing. That'll be a bit of a pain. But the rest of it is all together. Again, these ailerons are poking around in here are good and pretty loose. This one's not so bad, that one's quite loose. But there we go, that's the wing section done just like that. Okay, next we've got the gun covers going to go on the front. So that will be just down on here. Again, a lot of springiness in this, and that's because you've got zero tolerance. Normally you'd come in and glue and take care of things, but again I'm thinking, in fact I can see what the problem is. Again, it's flash in this little area just down here. Interesting how this one fits. Yeah, not brilliant. Okay, so well, can't have a Mustang without guns, but those aren't just sitting in there very nicely. They are pushing all over the place, so it'd be interesting. Again, glue, you know it would do the trick, but that isn't going in with glue. Okay, these are the whistle makers, by the way. If you don't know, you know why the Mustang makes the noise. A lot of people think it's the air scoop. Nothing to do with it. It's the guns. It's the physical guns on the front. Because they're recessed, they whistle, and that's why you get the distinctive Mustang sound with the whistle. Okay, so right, we're moving on to the front end now. So technically the wing section does the box section first. So we'll do the underside. What I'll do, I'll cut these parts out. Okay, so a little bit of cleanup. To be honest, I have had to use glue, yes. When we were doing this part here, to be honest, it has two little tabs and it's right next to the actual sprue tab, and I cut both. So obviously it won't stay on there without it. So I've had to use a tiny little bit of glue just on the front there, which, to be honest, I wish I might still go round and do it all afterwards. I think it needs it. Okay, so we are, as you can see, we're over here. So this is the little guy we've done here. As I say, you've got a different radiator one if you want it open or closed at the back, okay? And then that will then, I should think, or I'm hoping, will drop just down into here. Okay, so I'm wondering if we are wing section going to go on here first. It's actually saying do that way, right? Okay, so making a way around here. It's saying about putting this on and then onto here, but theoretically it's a case of right. Okay, well, where? You know, there is no proper hard and fast part for this, so it sort of just sits like that, I suppose. I would have thought it'd been easier to put it on afterwards, but there we go. That one is on there like that now. Then it's saying about at the front. Then obviously with the wing section, this will then drop in. So this is the important bit. What's really nice with this is these two guys here. These two slots here, absolutely fantastic, because what that's going to do is give us a nice secure, but also it's going to hold these wing sections together. All right, so this then theoretically is all just going to sandwich in together. So we're going to line those two up first. Popping that down in there. I'm sure this intake would be a lot easier afterwards, so what I'm going to do is attempt to take it off. That's it. Right, so wing section going on. A little bit of a squeeze just to line all of that up. Okay, so then we're just having to lightly force apart everything. Oh, no, losing the falling out gun tabs. We'll sort them out afterwards. Okay, so just being mindful. A little bit of a click. Actually, that is not bad at all. That, if you can see, very nicely done. I'm quite impressed with that joint. I was thinking, no way, that's going to be a right pain. Right, now hopefully this will allow this to go in now. Which it does. Which it clicks in. Okay, it's not a brilliant joint, but it's in there. It's adequately in there. I think with glue, this side's not too bad at all. Again, I think everything needs a little bit more of a squeeze. In fact, now with a bit more of a squeeze, that's gone in there perfect. So happy with that. Okay, so that one's in. Now we've got at the front, we'll do this slightly out of alignment, but it shouldn't make any difference. This is, again, you've always got your troublesome area just down in here. Well, hopefully this will neglect that problem. Okay, because now you don't have that awkward join. Okay, so again, we're just getting a little problem there. What have I done? That's all good. Just working out why that fits in. There we go. Click, click. You've got two little locating tabs just down at the front here. Again, it's saying glue free. That's definitely going to be another one. These wings are always going to be the sort of the problem area, but we've certainly got a Mustang looking kit now. Okay, so now we've got the little parts on the side here. Again, you've got an option if you want to have these with the holes or as a solid. So I'm thinking that is just a push fit just down in there like that, and then same on this side. Okay, so that's those on there just like that. And the nose system actually doesn't fit too bad at all. All of this goes in there quite nicely. Okay, so the last bit is we've got a little bit of the radiator, which I'm hoping will just push straight in on the front, of which it does. Okay. So that all goes on there literally just like that. Then you've got geared doors. Be interesting to see how these go. Okay. Again, it is just literally calling out for them to be pushed in like that. I assume one will push against the other, which it does. Again, so that's the doors in. Very nicely done indeed. That actually works really well. That's better than I thought. Okay, so now we've got the outer door parts. These I haven't cleaned up yet. Just give these a quick swipe. Okay. Some of them you can swipe clean, others it's easier to what I call nick clean. So you just nick it with a blade because it's at a funny angle. Like these for instance. Okay, now these are going to fit and then slot, goes the gear doors, onto these just like that. Is that the right way around or is it this way around? That way around. Okay, so that's that one in. Okay. Same on this side. Again, everything, because there's no glue, it is just pushing against each other, but the reality is you would glue this. Okay, so that's in there, and then again, just a little bit of a fiddly ping part. Let's try once more. See if we can get it to sit. See, again, it's just literally loaded pressures, but with glue that wouldn't be a problem. Honestly, that's it. Okay, so there we go. That's one Mustang just looking very nice like that. We have got little door pipes and everything. We'll do those afterwards. Fuel tanks, done those together. They are simple as a push fit, literally as simple as a push fit. Okay, the only thing is you've got these huge big ejector pin marks left over on these guys. So then probably what would be easier, you do get sway braces as well. Where are they? What part number are they? They are B. So we do have some little sway braces just down in here. These are absolutely minute. Be interested into these. Let's cut to the orange scissors to get these off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's these tiniest little guys, I must admit, on all of these. Okay, now are these going to sit in here and just stay there whilst everything else holds them into position? Again, trouble with sausage fingers here. There's one. Nope, we're going to have to resort to tweezers, I think, because I can't get in there with these. So that's on like that, and then this guy is going to come in, and that holds the part in check. Again, it's that thing, you can push them in, and then you push them so far. Okay, and then these guys will then knock off the gear door, which we'll pop that in a moment. Okay, same on the other side. Horrendous. This is why you wanted to use glue, because normally you'd have a drop of glue in here and the glue would retain the part. I'll show you what I mean. If I just take a little bit of glue, okay, we just put a tiny drop in each hole. When you come along, even with giant sausage fingers like me, it holds the part no matter how it sort of is, it's now in there. Okay, and that's the thing with it, so it's just saving you the hassle, and that's why glue's a good thing. Okay, again, we're just going to glue that one just to prove a point here. Okay, so now we're going to try and get this in without it taking the door. So there we go, that's both of those on just like that. That one will pop on in a moment. Okay, pitot tubes, stuff like that we'll do afterwards. Okay, so last up we have the canopy. Okay, so we know the clear parts are all pretty good. So if we just have a bit of a chomp on these. Okay, so we're just going to ping that guy. Ping that guy. Okay, now we have an option on 2 canopies. I'm assuming one's open, one closed. Oh, one's slightly bubbled, one's not. 5 and 6. So which one are we using? We are using part. Choose to install the part and glue it. Okay. And then it doesn't tell you which one it is, if it's 5 or 6. Okay, which of us take a educated guess at this? We're going to go with 6. Again, you've got the little mirror to put on this one, but because we will come back and paint this as an afterthought, we'll do it as a separate. Okay, So glass for the armoured extra level of glass can now go on the front just to show. Which doesn't want to go in. Okay. That's now in there just like that. Then the windscreen can go over. Be interesting to see how this will fit in. One side in. Very difficult doing it out of sequence like this, and again just getting it in to fit. But again, it's a real tight fit getting this canopy in, but it really works because boy does it pull everything in. In fact, so much so it's fighting to jump back out. So I would be inclined, okay, this is just me, to whip this off. Then we'll take this guy out, and then we'll put this in. I think this is a far more suitable way of doing it. Okay, that's both of those in. Then we'll put this in. And I think this will all line up beautifully then. And then we'll put more like it. Okay, he says as everything's been falling off around him. Okay. Okay, so back canopy part can go on. There's an aerial going to come up through the bottom, which is quite a nice touch, which is B8. B8. And one here. Again, needs a bit of a push. Radio tail going on. Again, there's a huge gap up here at the back, flapping round. That needs glue. That will never is not a click fit at all. Don't know quite what's going on back there, but there's nothing holding that tail on. Okay, tail planes going in. They're fair enough. Okay, but there's no way that's going on in there. And then we've got this guy. Ah, right, gotcha. That's why that should have gone in before that should have gone in. Got you. Because it's going to lock in this part, so it slides in the back, which gives you the lock, and then this goes in. Very reminiscent to the Tamiya one. So it slides back on that frame, and that's in there just like that. Okay, so that's all very nice. So we just need to pop back and do the prop. Haven't done the inside parts as well, but we'll do that when we come around to painting it and all the bits and pieces, because I'm thinking this isn't going to take much to paint it. Okay, so a couple of options in the prop department on here, but we'll pick our E11, E10. Okay, so E10. Yeah, this one. Okay, and there we go. Almost. Not quite. There's a few little bits and pieces still to go on there, but to be honest, it's that good a kit, I'm not going to just waste it. So I am going to fix the little problems with it and everything else like that, which I think we're going to do in a part 3 of this. We're going to come back, revisit this one at some point. We're going to basically glue it together and then we're going to paint it, and we'll give it a nice metal finish. Probably not that scheme, I prefer the other one with the invasion stripes underneath and everything else like that. So really, is this the next level of model kits and all the rest of it? No, it's not. It's by no means cement free, it's by no means a click fit kit, and let's face it, let's not kid ourselves here, this is definitely not Bandai. The way Bandai engineer their kits is that they all interlock and hide the seams and everything else. There's some very clever little ideas with this one which I do like, but it's nothing that we haven't seen perhaps on something like a Tamiya, 32nd, Mustang or Spitfire, things like that. So from that point of view, it isn't really a game changer. What it is though is actually a really nice P51D. It's very nicely detailed. Again, it depends which way you want to look at it, because this thing's covered in riveting on the wings and all the rest of it. Technically, as we know, those were puttied over. It should be shadows of riveting and not full riveting. So does that make it an accurate kit? Probably not, but now I'm being rivet counting and all the rest of it. The hope was this was going to be a click fit kit that kids could get hold of, put together, and away they go. They're going to need glue. At the end of the day, this is actually a really nice kit. It goes together really, really nicely, and it's got a very nice level of detail. The kids are going to love it. But to be honest, so is Tamiya's P51D in 1/48 scale, which is donkey's years old now. Still one of my favourite kits. It used to be $9.99 kit in your local hobby store back in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s. It's one of those kits that actually goes together better than this does. It's got very much the same level of detail. Okay, a little few ball bits in the cockpit and all the rest of it, but for a general overall shape of a P51D, I'd be more inclined to go with the Tamiya one. It's less complex, if that makes sense. So it makes it for an easier build, better for the kids. And it's one of my top kits that I recommend people do. So if you are new to the hobby, you want to do a kit, you fancy something World War II, you want to do a Mustang, go get Tamiya's 1/48 scale. Old, but absolutely a gem of a kit. Superior in a lot of ways than this one. So unfortunately, whilst this is a good kit from outwardly looking in, and the idea of it being cement free, it's not. Is it a fast build? Yeah, it's taken me, what, 2 hours to put this thing together in total. So from that point of view, very nicely done. But it's got Meng's quality right the way through it as well, which is a nice touch. So from that point of view, you've got great fit. There's no real fit issues anywhere, and it goes together very, very nicely. The only thing is, because of the glue-free nature of the kit, you're knocking bits off as fast as you're putting them on. So really, what I'm going to do with this one is take it apart again, glue it back together, take care of a couple of little dodgy moments on it, and then that way we'll have something as a very nice base to go in there for a metal finish. So if we're going to go with this one for the natural metal finish look, which we'll probably do with this one, a little bit of green on the top and everything else with invasion stripes, it will give us a very nice looking Mustang. But all in all, for 2 hours work and something for the kids to get their teeth into, it's a really nice kit. Would I recommend it? Probably not. If you're asking me, go out and buy the Tamiya P51D 1/48 scale. It's a beautiful kit. It's simpler than this one. It goes together just the same as this one, and it's a lot cheaper as well, I should think, and everything else like that. So there we go. That is part 2 of the Meng 1/48 scale cement-free. It's not a P51 kit. What we'll do, we're going to revisit this one probably next week or the week after. We'll come back and we're going to take care of all the problems and we're going to paint it.